Good afternoon, dear students. Welcome to all for today's social class. Today we will see new lesson. It is in political science, third chapter. Lesson name is human rights. Page number 113. Let's open textbook and listen carefully, dear students. The concepts of human rights has developed along with the growth of civilization. This is essential for the peaceful living, coexistence and development of human beings. Rights are the building blocks of democracy. Renowned political thinker Lassie declares that a nation can be identified through its human rights. Human rights enable everyone to lead a life of dignity. This ensures the development of better society. Hence, the UNO has declared the human rights and has said it is the duty of the state to protect the human rights. Listen, dear students, the concepts of human rights has developed along with the growth of civilization. Civilization means Nagarikate, what we call in Kannada, Nagarikate. Got it? The concepts of human rights has developed along with the growth of civilization. Got it? Why require human rights? Because the human rights is essential for the peaceful living. The human rights is required for peaceful living, coexistence and development of human beings. Got it? Why the human rights is essential? Essential means required. Because peaceful living, coexistence and development of human beings. Got it? Got it, dear students? Okay. According to one Greek political thinker, H.J. Luksky, declares that a nation can be identified through its human rights. Who said this? H.J. Luksky. Got it? Who was he? He was a renowned political thinker or great political thinker. Got it, dear students? The human rights are enable everyone to lead a life of dignity. Got it? Why we want human rights? Because to lead a life with dignity, so we require human rights. Got it? Let us see now human rights meaning and development. Human rights are essential for every human being to lead a life of dignity. Human rights are conducive to universal development of human beings. Listen, dear students, why we require human rights? Human rights are essential. Essential means require or need for every human beings to lead a life of dignity. So we need human rights. Got it? Got it, dear students? Okay. The roots of human rights are traced to Athens and Sparta, the two city-states of ancient Greeks. Athens and Sparta are the two ancient means old city-states in Greek country. Got it? What are the ancient city-states? Athens and Sparta. In the discussion of Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates on the relationship between the state and the individual, human rights are discussed. About the human rights, they discussed in the books of Aristotle books, Plato, and Socrates books. Got it? Let us see now the Magna Carta you not have, that is government reduced already. I will see the human rights and the Indian Constitution. The Declaration of Human Rights by the UNO is discussed in the preamble and fundamental rights part of the Constitution. In preamble, equality, fraternity, and freedom are discussed. It is discussed in the part 3 of the Constitution from Article 12 to 35 and of fundamental rights. There are 7 fundamental rights in the original Constitution. Later, by the 44th Amendment of the Constitution in 1978, the right to property was taken out of the fundamental rights and included under Article 300A. as the constitutional right. Hence, there are six fundamental rights now. Listen, dear students. The Declaration of Human Rights by the UNO. UN stands for United Nations Organization. What is the UN abbreviation? United Nations Organization. Got it? Discussed in the preamble and fundamental rights part of the Constitution. In preamble, equality, fraternity, and freedom are discussed. Listen, dear students. In the preamble, in our Constitution preamble, they discussed equality, fraternity, and freedom. Got it? This is discussed in the part 3 of the Constitution from the articles 12 to 35 and under fundamental rights. Got it? There were 7 fundamental rights in the original Constitution. Listen, dear students, in our original Constitution, how many fundamental rights we has? 7 fundamental rights we have. Got it? Later, by the 44th Amendment of the Constitution in 1978, the right to property was taken out of the fundamental rights and included under Article 300A as the constitutional right. Hence, there are 6 fundamental rights now. Listen, dear students, in our original Constitution, we has 7 fundamental rights. Got it? Got it, dear students? In our original Constitution, we has 7 fundamental rights. But out of 7, the right to property rights was taken out from the fundamental rights and it was added in constitutional right. Later, means now, how many fundamental rights we have? Just 6. Got it? Earlier we had 7. Among the 7 fundamental right to property, the fundamental rights was taken out. Now we have only 6 fundamental rights. Got it? Let's see what are the fundamental rights now. See, observe that diagram. Right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to religious freedom, cultural and educational right, right to constitutional remedy. These are the 6 fundamental rights at present we have. We seeing 6 fundamental rights in our Constitution. Got it? Okay, now I'll see the difference between fundamental rights and human rights. Okay. Human rights are universal in nature, are necessary for the holistic development of human beings. This upholds the dignity of human beings. Their violations are not protected by the court of laws. The fundamental rights are ensured by the Constitution. Their violations are addressed by the Supreme Court and High Courts. The fundamental rights are specific in nature and are protected by the constitutional law. Listen, dear students. The human rights are universal in nature. Universal means worldwide. Got it? And are necessary for the holistic development of human beings. The human rights are universal and also the human rights are necessary for the holistic development. Holistic means overall or total development of human beings. Got it? This upholds the dignity of the human beings. The human rights are upholds the dignity of the human beings. Their violations is break. Got it? Their violations are not protected by the court of laws. The fundamental rights are ensured by the Constitution. Listen, the fundamental rights are ensured by the Constitution. Their violations are addressed by the Supreme Court or High Courts. The fundamental rights are specific in nature and are protected by the constitutional law. Let us see now the institutions of human rights protection. what are the institutions protecting the human rights? Let us see now one by one. Okay, the UNO stands for United Nations of Organizations. The UNO held meeting with all member states in 1966 and has directed all the member states to remain committed to the protection of human rights. An International Human Rights Commission is formed at the international level. As supportive to this, National Human Rights Commission and the State Human Rights Commission are framed at national and state levels. Let us see now one by one. First one, National Human Rights Commission. National Human Rights Commission is a constitutional body. It was established through legislation in the Parliament in 1993. Listen, dear students, the National Human Rights Commission was established in the year 1993. It is watchdog of human rights in the country. It is a multi-member body. It has a chairman and 4 members. Listen, dear students, the National Human Rights Commission has one chairman and 4 members. The chairman should be a retired judge of the Supreme Court. Got it? Who is eligible to become a chairman of National Human Rights Commission? The retired judge of Supreme Court is eligible for becoming a chairman of National Human Rights Commission. Got it? The members should be either the current judges of the High Court or retired judges. The 4 members should be either current judge or retired judge of High Courts. Got it? And 2 members should have practical knowledge of human rights. The commission also has 4 ex officio members. The chairman and the members are appointed by the President of India, who appointed the chairman and members of National Human Rights Commission. The President is appointed the chairman and members in National Human Rights Commission. Got it? The tenure is for 5 years or till the attainment of 70 years of age or whichever is earlier. Listen, dear students, the tenure means term or period. Tenure means what? Term or period. The tenure is 5 years or till the attainment of 70 years. If became the chairman or members became 70 years, they need to retire from the job. Okay, retire from that post. Okay, or whichever is earlier. They receive remuneration as fixed by the central government. Remuneration is salary. Who fixed the remuneration for National Human Rights Commission chairman and 4 members? The central government fixed by the remuneration for chairman and 4 members salary in National Human Rights Commission. Got it? Who fixed? Central government will be fixed the remuneration of chairman and members in a National Human Rights Commission. Got it? The commission has been mandated to function independently without prejudice and interference. Let us see now. State Human Rights Commission. As per the Human Rights Law in 1993, the State Human Rights Commission are established at state levels. Listen, dear students, the State Human Rights Commission was established in the year 1993. Got it? They take the human rights violation cases. The State Commission has 1 chairman and 2 members. Listen, the State Human Rights Commission has 1 chairman and 2 members. The chairman should be a retired judge from the High Court, who is eligible for becoming a chairman of State Human Rights Commission, the retired judge of High Court. The members should be either serving High Court judges or retired judges, or should have served at district courts for at least 7 years. They are appointed by the governor. In State Human Rights Commission, who appointed the chairman and members, the governor will appoint the chairman and members in a state level. In national level, who appoints? The president will appoint. Okay, let's see now. National Commission for Scheduled Caste, what we call SC, ST. SC stands for Scheduled Caste. Okay, the National Commission for Scheduled Caste and Tribes was bifurcated in the year 2003 by 89th Amendment to Article 338. National Commission for Scheduled Caste and National Commission for Scheduled Tribe were formed. Listen, the National Commission for Scheduled Caste has one chairman and one vice chairman and 3 members. Listen, dear students, the National Commission for Scheduled Caste has one chairman and one vice chairman and 3 members. They are appointed by the President of India. Got it? Who appointed them? They are appointed by the President of India. The commission addresses the issue of atrocities on scheduled caste people and also identifies the violation of human rights against such people and provides relief to them. The Commission also provides needed information and statistics to the central government and state governments to plan various programs for the benefit of these people. Okay, let us see now. National Commission for Scheduled Tribes. The National Commission for Scheduled Tribes came into existence as per the 89th Amendment of the Constitution in the year 2003. The Commission has one chairman, one vice chairman, and 3 members. The National Commission for Scheduled Tribe also has one chairman, one vice chairman, and 3 members. Got it? They are appointed by the President of India. Who appointed them? They are appointed by the President of India. Its functions are similar to that of the National Commission for Scheduled Caste. National Commission for Backward Classes. This commission was founded in 1993. It has one chairman and 4 members. The commission protects the rights of backward classes. Listen, dear students, National Commission for Backward Classes was established in the year 1993. This commission has one chairman and 4 members. Got it? This commission is working for protect the rights of the backward classes. Let us see now. National Commission for Women. In order to protect the rights of the women, the National Commission for Women was formed under the law on 1990. The commission has one chairman and 5 members. It sensitizes the women on their constitutional rights. It also studies the status of women with respect to education, sociological, economical, and health. Listen, dear students, the National Commission for Women was established in the year 1990. Got it? The commission is the National Commission for Women, has one chairman and 4 members. This commission is working for in the favor of development of women. Got it? Okay, let us see now last one. National Commission for Minorities. The National Commission for Minorities was formed in the year 1992 for the protection of minority people. The commission has one chairman and one vice chairman and 5 members. 6 religious communities have been identified as minorities. They are Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Buddhists, Parsis, and Jains. The Commission undertakes the study of minorities and take necessary steps to protect the interest of this minority commission. Listen, dear students. The National Commission for Minorities was established in the year 1992. Got it? In 1992, the National Commission for Minorities was established. Got it? Got it, dear students? Okay. This commission has one chairman, one vice chairman, and 5 members. Got it? This committee or this commission has one chairman, one vice chairman, and 5 members. Got it? The central government considered 6 communities as an minorities. Let us see what are that. Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Buddhists, Parsis, and Jains are considered as minority religious communities. Got it? Got it, dear students? I hope you clear today's lesson. Now homework for you. Second mind. First question, second and third. Second mind, 3 questions you need to answer. Okay. The second mind, 3 questions you should answer. This is an homework for you. I hope you clear today's lesson. In case if you have any doubts, you can call at any time. I will clarify your doubts. Okay, dear students. Thank you. Have a nice day. Thank you, one and all.